Welcome to Cunningham Piano. I'm Hugh Sung. In this video, we're going to explore how to teach piano lessons online. I've been teaching piano lessons online since 2009 when I created my YouTube series, Clair de Lune from Scratch. And since 2014, I've been teaching students all around the world through my online popular piano school at ArtistWorks. I'll be sure to have some links to those resources in the notes below. In this video, we're going to explore three basic ways for piano teachers to teach live one-on-one lessons over the internet. They're going to vary in terms of the quality of the video and of the sound, as well as some of the capabilities of what you can teach and show through these streaming lessons. We'll also touch a little bit on what's going to be needed in terms of equipment for the students to receive those lessons. For an effective online piano lesson, the teacher and the student needs to be able to see and hear each other clearly. The teacher needs to be able to play and show examples on the piano, and the teacher needs to be able to see and hear what the student is doing in response. And in a more advanced setting, the teacher will be able to show multiple angles, not just from the side, but ideally also from above, and also perhaps show examples from the music itself, particularly if they want to write in fingerings, annotate notes, or make any other kinds of graphical markings on the music, just like you would with pencil on the sheet music paper for a student, but of course transmitted over the internet. So we're going to explore all of those options, beginning with the most basic form where you at least see and hear each other. For the most basic online piano lesson, both the teacher and the student will need some sort of device to capture video and audio, connect to the internet, and use a video conferencing program. Some popular video conferencing programs in the past have been things like FaceTime or Skype, but the program I actually recommend now is something called Zoom. Zoom is currently the most popular web conferencing program for many good reasons. The quality of the audio streaming is excellent. It has some wonderful features for recording and even transcribing the lessons. So I highly recommend you check out Zoom.com, which works across all platforms. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to give a little sample of what a lesson could look like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record a short musical example, and so that you can see and hear what it looks like on a standard laptop as well as on an iPad just by themselves. I'm going to start this example first by using the Zoom app on the iPad. After you have downloaded the free app, let's go ahead and open it up, and the first time you open it up, it will probably ask you to create a free account. By creating a free account, you can get started right away. If you want to have more features, obviously you can pay for a subscription that will give you more capabilities. Now, opening the app, I'm going to tap on New Meeting. Make sure that the video on is selected. Let's go ahead and tap on Start a Meeting. Here I am. Okay, and I'm going to tap on the call using Internet Audio option here. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite somebody to participate in this lesson. To do so, look at the upper right-hand portion of the screen, look at Participants, tap on here, okay, and you can tap on Invite. You can send an email or send a message or invite your contacts. Sending an email is pretty simple. You just enter the email address of the person you're inviting. I'm going to go ahead and invite myself, all right, and you're going to see on my computer screen what that looks like. That's going to be sent out. Jump over to my computer, and let's take a look at this invitation. All right. Surrounded by computers. Okay, so I've got an invitation here to please join a Zoom meeting in progress. Tap onto here, and I've got this link. I just simply click on the link. Now, if nothing happens, it will probably prompt you to, if you haven't downloaded Zoom for your computer, it'll ask you to download and install that. Once you have that installed, we're going to open up the app over here, and it's very simple. It'll join it automatically. And again, join with computer audio. Here we go. I'm going to turn this volume off if I can. And just like that, teacher and student are connected over Zoom with their video and audio connection. It's so simple. Once you have Zoom installed on your iPad or your laptop, sending invitations to each other to get these lessons started as meetings is incredibly easy. Let's start off with an example of what an online piano lesson might look and sound like using a standard laptop computer. You can see that I have my laptop positioned about 3 or 4 feet away from the piano and elevated. This is the really important point. I have this elevated so that I can get a full cross view of the piano from the bottom to the top, so that when my hands are together, I can still see the individual fingers on the notes. If your camera source is too low, it's going to be hard to distinguish where those hands and fingers are relative to the keys. So this kind of positioning is really good for both the teacher and for the student view. All right, so you can use a small bookshelf or a high table if you have something that high. In this case, I actually have a laptop tripod, a laptop stand that can adjust in height. So this is an ideal tool for using a laptop's webcam. Let's hear what this lesson would sound like. So one of the limitations, of course, is that I only have one view. It's just that single camera view, and you'll have to explain and talk through everything else. There's no view of my pedals, there's no view of the sheet music, but for a basic setup, running this through something like Zoom, this is what it would look and sound like. Now let's compare that with an iPad. You'll notice with this setup that I have my iPad situated a good bit further away and elevated so that I can get that angled look, giving me a clear view of both hands on the piano. Now, a really important consideration why I'm using iPads and laptops and not a smartphone is simply for the fact that I need to be able to see the student, and the student needs to be able to see me, not just over the internet, but also as we're doing the lesson. This iPad Pro screen is large enough so that I can, even though it's a little bit further away, I can still see the hands on the keys, and if the screen is large enough, the student can see me in return. If you're using a smartphone and using the selfie camera on the smartphone, the screen is just too small because you're going to have it far enough away to see the whole keyboard, so on and so forth. Again, it's that real-time interaction that we need to maintain for an effective lesson. All right, let's hear what this sounds like. Now let's explore some more advanced ways for the teacher to enhance the quality of their video and their audio for the lesson. Now, for very basic online piano lessons, using a laptop or an iPad is perfectly acceptable. Keep in mind you're limited to a single point of view, and the audio quality is going to be dependent on the internal microphones of these devices. They're not designed to record high-quality musical examples. Now, you can improve the sound quality somewhat by adding a USB microphone to a laptop, and I believe the iPad also has external microphone attachment options as well. Personally, I find that a multi-camera setup is much more effective for online piano lessons. A side angle like this so that you can look at posture issues, you can do some basic fingering things, but I find that an overhead cam is much more effective at explaining how to finger the different notes and passages, and you can see your technique in a whole new and actually a personal way. So I highly recommend exploring multi-camera lesson setups whenever possible. In this next example, I'm going to show you how to set up a very basic multi-camera online piano lesson. So this is what a multi-camera view looks like when I connect two webcams to my laptop computer. Now I have a webcam on a tripod over there, and I have another webcam above that is suspended with a tall boom microphone stand and a special attachment that can attach camera accessories. And I'll have links to all of the equipment that I'm using in the notes below. But as you can see, now I have the option to show fingerings, okay? And then by switching the camera, by going down to the bottom of the zoom menu and then clicking here, I can select the different cameras that are connected to the computer in addition to the built-in computer camera, the FaceTime camera here, okay? So here you go. One of the nice things about this particular setup is the fact that the computer screen is right here. So when I'm looking at my student, all right, my student will see the different views, but I will see the student right here. So it's a little bit closer view for me to observe what the student is doing. It makes it easier for me to observe. Instead of having the laptop further away from me, having it right in front of me, it makes it a little bit easier to interact, okay? So this is a multi-camera view using webcams. I almost forgot, I wanted to include an example of using a USB microphone. This microphone is an Audio-Technica AT2020, but almost any decent USB microphone should do. So I have this connected into one of the ports using a port extender for my laptop computer here. So let's see what this sounds like. I have the microphone placed in a way so that it's facing sort of in between me and the piano, so kind of equidistant between me and what the piano should sound like. So I'm going to go ahead and also switch over to the overhead cams, take advantage of that extra view, and let's see what this sounds like. Now you probably noticed that my image was flipped horizontally. By default, Zoom has all the image settings to be mirrored, which is okay for a face-to-face meeting, but if you're trying to show fingerings and your hands are all backwards, or later on in the more advanced settings when you're trying to actually show sheet music and all the notes are reversed, that certainly is not going to work for an online piano lesson. So let's take a quick look at one additional setting within Zoom to turn off the mirror feature. So within the Zoom application, scroll down until you see this bottom menu bar appear, and click on this little arrow, which will give you the option to go into the video settings. Click on this and look at the My Video settings. You should see Mirror My Video. Click on this to uncheck that box. There you go. You can go ahead and click X to get out of this. And now the video should be showing with the proper perspective. In both of these previous examples, we saw that there were real limitations in terms of the quality of the video and of the audio, although it did improve significantly when we added an external USB microphone. What if there was a way to have really high-quality multi-camera video, including maybe an extra camera for our feet to show pedaling, and maybe even a view of the sheet music so that our students could see the annotations on the music, as well as high-quality audio that's mic'd more specifically for the piano and a separate microphone so that the student can hear the teacher speaking more clearly. In this final example, I'm going to show you what I think is the ultimate setup for an online piano lesson. And now let's look at a system that combines multiple high-quality video cameras with high-quality audio for an online piano lesson streamed live. So I've got a side view over here. I've got an overhead view using an Akaso sports camera. It's similar to a GoPro, but not quite as expensive. You can also see that I've got an iPad over here, and that iPad is a little bit washed out in this overhead view, but I switch the camera view and boom, I've got sheet music. Check this out. And then I can simply draw in my markings. You can see my markings coming in real time. I can highlight things. I can also erase them if necessary. Very, very cool stuff. And of course, we have a pedal cam. I can show my pedaling while I'm playing. What's more, if I want, I can also overlay a pedal cam to another view. So now let's really test and see what this all sounds like I've got a dedicated lapel mic. I've got 2 dedicated piano mics. So now high quality audio and high quality video combined together. Let's see what the result is. At the heart of this setup is a streaming video switcher called an AT2020 made by Blackmagic Design. This device allows me to combine video sources, up to 4 video sources, through HDMI cables. Now, as for the audio, I'm actually using a dedicated mixer. Now, my mixer is a little bit larger than necessary, but that's what I happen to have. So I'm able to combine 1 audio input from my lapel microphone and 2 very high quality piano microphones into 2 other channels. I'm using a pair of DPA 4099 piano microphones. They're very expensive. They're very, very good. So all of the audio channels go into my mixer. Now what's interesting is that I actually have the audio then being output from the mixer into one of the cameras. The camera then sends its HDMI feed with the audio and video combined back into one of the video channels. And then within the AT2020, I can actually select, this is the camera number 2, that has the audio combined. I turn that on, and no matter what channel I'm on, the audio will stay connected to that audio source over there. Okay? So the AT2020, in short, gives me a lot of flexibility. I can also do picture-in-picture view. You can see the pedal as I'm playing. That's camera number 1. I can move that to different parts of the screen, like so. Very, very useful. If I'm doing an overhead view and I want to show the pedal while I'm playing, very easy to do as well. Yeah. And I think what's really nice about this system is that I just hit a few buttons and it's very easy, very quick for me to switch the views quickly. If I want to go to my sheet music and quickly write up a couple more notes, I can do it. It's not a hassle. Switch back quickly. I'm not fussing around with finding the controls on the computer. And by the way, the most powerful thing about this video switcher is the fact that it works as an external webcam, a single webcam. When I go into Zoom and go into the settings down here and select a video source, you can see the Blackmagic Design is selected here, and that's, again, working as a single webcam, combining all of these signals into one high-quality broadcast stream. Now, the AT2020, as I said, connects up to 4 video sources. I happen to have a wide mix of video sources here. I've got some very high-quality cameras, some high-quality camcorders. I have a relatively inexpensive overhead Akaso sports cam. It's kind of like a cheap version of a GoPro, so it's not as high quality. If you wanted to have a high quality overhead cam, you could certainly invest in a ceiling mount and permanently affix a good quality camera up there, the same quality as what I have shooting over here. The microphones, of course, they are very, very expensive, but you don't need to get the same level of expensive equipment. If you have the AT2020, you can even get a smaller mixing board for the audio sources and use some less expensive microphones. But I think the key thing is having options, having the options to have a dedicated audio source which will always sound better than a single audio source trying to capture everything. You can hear my voice more clearly because it's isolated. You can hear the piano more clearly because it's isolated. And of course, these different cameras, you can certainly get less expensive cameras as long as they have the ability to connect through HDMI cables. So I think that's really the key takeaway here, is that if you can invest in a good dedicated streaming piece of hardware that can combine the video and audio sources, all of the rest of the components you can get as your budget allows. So that's a quick look at 3 different setups for online streaming piano lessons. I hope you found this helpful. I'll be sure to have links to all of the tools that I use in the notes below. Be sure to subscribe so that we can let you know whenever we have new tutorial videos like this one. For Cunningham Piano, I'm HUGH Sung. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.